Like this. Whoa, oh, good catch. Ladies and gents and everyone in between, welcome back to Lure Fishing TV. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today we're talking about football jig heads. Football jig heads are something I am 100% sure everyone has seen before. Probably everyone has used them as well, but have we used them in the right way? Have we used them because we wanted to use them, or have we just used them because they ended up in our box at some point and they were just a nice jig head and we were happy to use it for our normal everyday jigging, which is absolutely fine. But there's more to these little or sometimes big buggers. They are really useful for certain applications, and I'm gonna run you through when and how to use these guys. Football jig head, as you can see, can come on a straight jig head like this tank head from Decoy. Football shaped. They can come on weedless Texas hooks like this rock bomb from Decoy as well. So this one is for weedless rigging. Again, football shape there for you. They can and very often actually come on skirted jigs. Again, here they can come on a straight skirted jig or on a weedless one. In this case, on a black flag skirted jig with a big old craw on there, which is also what I use most of my football jigging with, if you want to say, is fishing craws close to the bottom. I have a few more little options here. This is the SGH-1 as well from Decoy. They really have a nice little array of football. This one is slightly cut on the sides. I don't know if you can see, I'm sure you can, but still it has a football shape. So why now choose a football jig head, an egg shaped, into the width rather than into the length, egg shaped jig head over, in certain situations, a round jig head? Well, it has a few advantages in certain situations. The very first and very obvious one is it will, if you're fishing close to the bottom, and you can already see it will absolutely sit straight like this. Whoa, oh, good catch. I wish you would have seen that. It will sit this way, so your lure, your craw, your worm, whatever, your paddle tail will drag, or when it sits on the bottom, if it hits the bottom or when you're dragging it, it will sit upright and the right way around. This is something that I really like. Nice and natural. The egg shape will make sure it will sit this way around. That is number one. Number two, I'll show you on this one as well. There we go. You see? There we go. Number two is, and I'm sure if you've followed this channel a little bit, I have mentioned it on different lures and how much I like it. I am someone who really likes to fish close to the bottom, probably a little bit too much. I probably underfish the perch quite often because I just like this dragging, this jigging close to the bottom, the dropping phases, the bites on the drop. All of that is something I really enjoy. So I do find myself in stone fields quite often, fishing in between rocks, and when I do that, I really like lures with a rather wide sinker, a wide head. For example, the head swimmer libero, if you watched that video, I pointed that out. Something with a wide head, and which football heads obviously naturally have, because they will bounce over rocks more than sliding in between. So if you now take, for example, as a, they're right on the other side of the room. Let me see if I've got anything rigged up with them. I probably do. I usually have, because they're one of my favorite ones. Here, there we go. For example, this is a Decoy VJ36, one of their weedless hooks, which has a very different shape. This is a very brilliant, yeah, there we go, we've got focus. We have focus. This is a very different shape. It is also slightly flattened, so they will quite well stand upright and keep your lure upright, but I really like to use them in current and to jig them over fairly clear ground or in between excuse me, in between obstacles such as branches and roots, because they slide in between and slide away from it very well. Really good for that. But if you're thinking rock fields and little nooks and crannies in the rocks and dragging, this shape will obviously slide into the rock and the little gaps way quicker than something with potentially the same weight, which is more wide, which will just go, oh, no, I'm not going in there. I'd rather slip over it than go right into it. So that is something else where I really like to use. So on big rivers or lakes and reservoirs as well, when I feel those rocks and stones, and I really want to feel those rocks and stones, or mussel beds as well, when I feel those, I really like one of these football jig heads. They come in all sort of sizes. I mean, this one is the black flag here in what, 10 grams or so. Tom from FFS Lures used to do them. I don't think he does them anymore in a very small finesse little, that's probably less than 2 grams or maybe 2 grams, 2.5, something like that. So they are available in all sorts of weights and on a straight jig head, on weedless jig heads, quite often, like I said, on skirted jigs. And what I usually do with them, I drag craws over the bottom. So my small craws, I really like to use the, well, what have I got here? I've got the tank head that I just showed to you. I have, so that's on a straight jig head. I have the SGH-1 from Decoy as well, which is this one here, which has a slightly finer hook. Usually because they are made to be fished close to the bottom and with craws and for quite strong species as well. So in Japan they use them for the mebaru, for the little tiny groupers. Well, I say tiny, they actually get quite big, but for strong fish that really like to then pull back into caves and the snacks they were sitting in. So most of the time you have some really nice sturdy, here we go, have a look, hooks there. So especially this tank head has got a really nice and sturdy hook. I really like it. But the rock bomb as well, this one, the SGH-1 from Decoy as well. But if you wanted a little bit of a more finesse hook, then this is the one, and it is also a smaller hook. So if you wanted to present some smaller craws on there, I would recommend that. So rock bomb, tank head, and here we go, SGH-1. These are the ones that I really recommend. We have them all in our range. Below are the links as per usual. On the back you've got some little instructions, usually how to rig the craw on there. It's fairly obvious, but it's always nice, and there you can see hopping in between the rocks. That's what they have in mind with them as well. Guys, football jig heads, awesome little tool. A lot of people don't know what to use them for. Use them to just jig through or just retrieve through the mid-water. Absolutely fine for that as well. I wouldn't quite use them in a strong current or anything, because they are not really made for that. But guys, if you know you're fishing rocks, if you know you're fishing rock fields, you want to fish rock fields, the fish are there, football jig heads are your friend, guys. Get to know them. Boop, there we go, focus. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That's it for today. Tight lines. River season is almost here. We've almost made it through the close season. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe if you like the channel. Comment underneath if you've got any questions on anything really, but especially obviously underneath this video, anything regarding the football jig heads. or if you have anything to add. I might have missed something. Maybe you've got an application that you use your Football Jig Heads successfully for. Please drop it below, and yeah, share the video.